So if you adhere to the rules and regulations of procurement, it means you are saving resources for government. And we want to commend you for that.
Despite the institution's achievements made in the year under review, the committee, in conjunction with the external auditors, emphasized that Gilmer has several issues that needs addressing.
It seems I'm hearing a different thing. To my understanding from what you've just said, it seems that council are still charging license from requesting payment from butchers. So I want you to clarify. Is it based the butchers that are in their market are paying their daily market contents fees or rentage to councils, or they are paying separate levy different from their normal taxes?
We are creating an environmental hazard because council doesn't have much resources, you know. So therefore, I think it is important that the council must collect these things so that they can live up to their mandate. Honorable Chair, that was my intervention.
Nominated member Honorable Sidin Jai commended the agency for their wonderful performance, but was quick to inquire about the resources Gilmer has in meeting the demands of the rural farming community.
Honorable Speaker, I don't know how many human resources the livestock marketing agency have on the ground to work with farmers, particularly at the village level, to take into account of the diseases that normally, particularly during the rainy season. Last year, some parts of Central River region, north, most of sheep and goats were, of course, encountered with serious diseases, I mean the ruminants, and most of us lost a huge number of ruminants. I think the livestock marketing agency should double up that effort, and to, as far as their responsibility, to work and to ensure that their personnel are not even possible to be only in every hamlet, but also to be in major villages and districts.
As disclosed by the directors, Gilmer's activities during the year under review and the previous years were faced with difficulties like a small budget and narrow resources compared to its mandate. This, they say, makes it impossible for the institution to carry out most of its functions. In this light, deputies asked questions on what is being done to address such constraints, while the subject matter specialist gave his impressions.
It is very tempting to get all your monies locked up in livestock purchases and not recover. The old livestock marketing board problem comes to mind. 3, it would be improper to be facilitator, regulator, and trader in one. So I would support all the other things that they're doing and give a gentle caution to management that they be careful about this.
The Gambia Livestock Marketing Agency's positive strides in fulfilling its mandate during the year under review led to the unanimous adoption of their documents by the National Assembly's PAC-PEC Committee. Their impressive performance of 99% was well adored. However, maintaining this achievement should be highly considered. Modou Bajan, GRTS.
We'll be back with news from outside the Gambia after the short break.
Super Savers. The lowest international call rates ever.
Yes, you heard it. Comium offers you the lowest international tariff ever.
Lower than anywhere else. Comium Super Savers.
For the first time, you can also use your bonus credit to make international calls.
Only from Comium.
Now is the time to call family and friends all over the world at rates you can definitely afford. Comium brings you the lowest international call rates ever.
Name your country and we got the lowest rates to that destination.
One of the many reasons we say your credit lasts longer with Comium.
Comium. We are better together.
Welcome back. 10 days of talks in the Geneva II conference and still no end to the war in Syria. The meeting neither resolved nor interrupted the massive siege in the cities of Homs, Daraya and Aleppo, leaving in its wake thousands of deaths. As we hear in this report, CFI brings us the story about human sufferings as they continue amid its agencies as they find it tough to access hard-hit areas.
talks dubbed Geneva II, which ended on Friday with no results, neither changed nor interrupted the Syrian regime's strategy of devastation and collective punishment. The Damascus suburb of Daraya, as well as Homs and Aleppo, are still the target of Bashar al-Assad's air raids, and the local communities are still reduced to clearing the debris with bare hands and counting their dead. In addition to dropping rockets and barrels of explosives, the regime is encircling entire neighborhoods in these towns and literally starving their residents for cooperating with the insurgents. This is the case in the camp of Yarmouk, a Palestinian refugee camp where some 18,000 people remain out of the 300,000 Palestinians and Syrians who lived here in 2011. These pictures, aired by social networks, show Syrians who left their apocalyptic setting to try to get their hands on some food supplies. They found out yesterday that the UN Agency for Refugees had succeeded in bringing in food rations for families. A source of hope for these people who have had to eat cats, dogs and donkeys in order to avoid dying of hunger, as was the case for about 100 among them. The brief opening was allowed by the regime, which broadcast pictures of it on state television. According to the commentary that accompanied the pictures, this is relief aid from the Palestinians who worked with the UN and the Syrian government to help the local population, which is a victim of terrorists and foreign powers that support the Salafist jihadists.
More than 50,000 South Sudanese refugees have fled to neighboring Uganda to flee the conflict raging in their country. Despite the ceasefire agreement, many still continue to run for their lives for fear of renewed fighting between rebels and government soldiers. As CFI reports, the UN is worried about the plight of these refugees.
60,000 South Sudanese civilians have taken refuge in Uganda. An influx that did not slow down with the ceasefire signed between the rebels and the authorities in Juba.
Most of the population coming are children and mothers. So food is a crucial necessity at the moment, because as you can see, some of them have trekked a long distance. They hardly have anything to eat.
This woman fled the town of Bor, first invaded by the rebels, then retaken by the army. She arrived here with her husband and their 6 children.
I have nothing to feed my children, only this ration they gave me. This is all I have.
Thousands of people were killed, 700,000 chased out of their homes. The situation is very worrisome, according to Valerie Amos, in charge of the United Nations relief operations. She was in South Sudan.
The current crisis comes on top of an already challenging humanitarian situation in the country, where 3.7 million people are now severely food insecure. The violence and abuses we have seen since the 15th of December threaten the future of this young country.
The situation is further destabilized by the fact that the ceasefire is not taking hold. The rebels and the government accuse each other of violating it.
Government forces in Iraq have taken control of strategic areas in the Anbar province where Al-Qaeda militants hold sway, and U.S. authorities seek death sentence for Zoka Tsarnaev, the accused Boston Marathon bomber. For more on these and other stories, we turn to this report by the CFI.
Iraqi government forces retook control of strategic areas in Anbar province near the Syrian border. Government sources say the army, backed by fighters from local tribes, killed some 20 al-Qaeda-linked militants in a wide-ranging operation. Violence in Iraq has escalated to its highest level in 5 years, with over 850 people killed during the month of January alone. The United States federal government says it will seek the death penalty for Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, the accused Boston Marathon bomber. The 19-year-old is accused of planting bombs near the finish line of the Boston Marathon last April, which killed 3 people and injured 264. The U.S. government says the nature of the attack warrants the death penalty, even though the case will be tried in Massachusetts, which has abolished capital punishment.
Take care of your resources, that's fine.
Asia ushered in the Year of the Horse on the first day of the Lunar New Year. Beijing celebrated with colorful parades and fireworks. There was a French touch too when actress Sophie Marceau and Chinese pop music star Liu Wan sang the famous French song La Vie en Rose in a gala television production watched by some 750 million people across the country.